Okay, I'm gonna give this a second. Let a few people get in here. Okay, I'm running a little bit late. I was trying to figure out how everybody does the mirror your screen to your uh StreamYard. I don't know. I haven't yet to figure out how everybody does that. But as you can see on here, is like one day here soon, me and you're gonna run into each other, and I'll be able to confront you, and you will not be able to run and hide behind a screen. Is what this is supposed to be showing. And can everybody hear me pretty good? But who this is from is one of the original pictures I showed that matches the sketch, the new sketch, the one Betsy put out. And the one where she had to force the law to be like, look, you need to look at this individual in that sketch. Why isn't that sketch that I said is 100% being not released? The next day, they allowed what? That sketch to be released. So, like I said from the very get go, it's one of the original BG suspects. Just the other night, this not last night, but the night before. I did get another email from him last night, so yes, it's ongoing. But for the last couple nights, I've been getting emails from the none other than the real BG, Tyler Joe French. And what is very concerning on that is I got an idea. I figured out where he got my address. Paige Turley. A while back, when Karina's case was going on, I had break ins at my apartment, where below my apartment was a close friend of hers and her two kids. Would always come over. I was having attempted break ins, had some meds come up missing. You get the idea. So, in order to get all this to stop, I had to get a protective order against the driver that picked up Karina McClurkin. And I feel it was just in retaliation that they were trying to make up some accusations saying I was threatening them, the kids, everything like that, which is a blatant lie. The moment I brought up the original copy of the protective order, and I told the judge, look, I have a feeling this is in retaliation. And they asked me, in retaliation for what? I was like, it's in retaliation to the original copy of the protective order that I had to get years later as a witness, federal witness at that. And I end up asking the judge, can I approach the stand and give you, let you see a copy of the original protective order? After that was shown, they had no evidence, nothing to back them up. Case dismissed. I feel the real reason why they dragged me into court, get me served, and it was to get my exact address to know for a fact this is where he lives and we've got the exact address. So Tyler Joe French and Kokomo Police Department and some of the ones he knows has been feeding him some information about my past, uh, trying to say I've got a mental disability. Oh, that him and his buddies have been watching my page. They've been laughing. And then, as you see it, I keep talking. And like this ring has already said, if I keep talking, I'll be the next one who goes missing and killed. That's a written threat that's been out there. But at the same time, as you can see right now, I've got the original BG that I've said, and I've been letting everybody know, planning on meeting me in person. And like I said, and if you're watching this, give me 2 seconds. I'm trying to move around and grab something real quick. But not really scared of this little boy. He is not a man, never will be. And he thinks he can scare me because he could kill kids. Oh, I'm capable of killing. Yeah, kids, women. Little boy, you have not been against somebody your own size, your own strength. You've killed before. Ooh, yeah. Women and children. You're a weak, pathetic human being. And to threaten me that, oh, I'm not going to be as big and bad in a wheelchair when he sees me in person. Well, think again. Because, like I did in the short live, think again, buddy. I'm ready. You think I'm scared? Think again. I am not scared, but at the same time, while everybody is doing what they exactly wanted, the closer it gets to this, the closer that anybody would get into finding out who is and who isn't involved. And let's just be seen, before May, they can't afford this. Just like when they knew Kurtz, Ashley, they knew the real reason you all want to know. I've got this from her family. And Nicole was in the process of telling her family something that's very important. And I get a feeling Kurtz and Ashley, when they admitted to they knew she was going to roll, aka snitch, was exactly what they said is why she needed to die. They had to silence her. It wasn't on this drug ring and drugs. It is what she knew, even her family felt, it is what she knew about Delphi and Flora. What this drug ring and individuals in and around this drug ring did to children. I have a very sick suspicion the real snitching, what they were afraid of, was what I've been doing. I've been letting the people know where to look and why. And the sick thing is, I have a feeling that is why it cost Nicole Bowen her life. It wasn't about drugs in this drug ring, it was about deaths, murders of even kids. And she knew what she knew and was going to let it be known to the world. They could not allow that. They could not afford that. So that's why Nicole was silenced. And by all means, while the rest of you are fighting, I've got the real BG knowing my exact location. Saying I'm not going to be as big and hard and able to hide behind a screen when he sees me in person. When they see me in person. Him and the others that even McClellan admits the others are involved. It'd be the original BG that I've been saying. There's Gabriel Ellis. Fits the first sketch to a T. Then you got Tyler Joe French. That the email. If you go onto my community page, read that. See it for yourselves. Hands down. I've been saying this. And while they did what they did, just enough with their support and their help, which goes up to some higher local tentacles, they did exactly what they've been wanting to do. They knew a lot of these YouTubers working together, it was a threat to them. They could not have it. They could not allow it. Because what this was doing, it was circling, and it was like a bunch of sharks circling around and looking and finding and exposing certain soft spots that they did not want shown, including myself. So while you guys are fighting amongst yourselves, fucking, oh, he said that, she said this, they did this, doing exactly what they want you to do. Instead, a lot of people may not agree on the same subject or may not agree with each other like before. You got people ripping each other's throats out left and right, creator after a creator. The one I did admits to being at the bridge, being part of it, then admits that he wants to kill children. So yeah, I went after one and one only. I didn't go after the rest of them. But the same thing, the reason I did what I did was the exact reason. Tracy, I'll actually look into that when I get done. Because there's another dealer and his two sons all shot execution style at a Marion. Look what Javon Blackwell and his two sons murdered at a Marion. He was dealing for the Kokomo ring, and something happened. Either he was holding back money or drugs. Something happened, and it cost him and his two sons their lives. So yes, there's already one case out of Marion that's tied back to this drug ring. And I need you guys to look, when you look up Javon's case, look up every single name. Write those names down, get a familiarized idea of what the face looks like. And like the Brittany chick, the Brittany one, she only got a robbery charge. But I need you to look, these social media is where this drug ring and the ones that are in and around. Yes. And do you realize some of those involved in that only got robbery? Yeah. Some of those individuals that shot Javon Blackwell and his two boys, execution style. And what I've heard was actually they shot the two boys in front of him, execution style. Then they finally killed the dad. But this is what they've been wanting. A lot of it has been working together. They've been uncovering this, that, looking at this, and now everybody's fighting. It's exactly what they want. This close to trial, they want everybody's eyes off the prize. They want everybody infighting and fighting amongst themselves, and everybody's doing a damn good job of doing exactly what this drug ring wants. It doesn't help that some these creators are involved themselves, admits to being at the bridge, wants to kill kids, has been making threats to killing other people, and is on the run for that very reason. Oh, yeah. So it doesn't help where some of these YouTubers, they're involved with this drug ring. The ones involved in this drug ring, involved in more than one child's death. And at the same time, you've got individuals where, hands down, like hands down, while everybody's fighting, everybody eyes is over this way and that way. You've got individuals like this, Tyler Joe French, thinking their little crew of a bunch of whacked out little idiots can come over and silence me before May 13th. I warned you guys. I already had an idea this is going to happen. The closer this gets, the more that I let out, the more they want me dead. And I'm going to bring up this little subject right now. There's something that you guys have been overlooking. You guys got the idea kind of partly right. And give me a second. I'm going to be bringing it up. I got to bring this up real quick. February 14th. In pagan Nordic times, and the ones that believe in that, it is a new solstice. Mid-February is a new solstice. I'm going to butcher the hell what this says, but what it says is Sunar and Valley. It is two warriors, two names, and Sunar means the winter months, the winter time. And when it comes to Valiblat, or Valisblot, is their Valentine's Day. And what is going on in this transition is actually a very disturbing, and I mean very disturbing, comment they made when it was involving one of the girls were stabbed, how they were stabbed, and where they were stabbed. Because in order for them to get what they wanted from Odin, or be it whatever god they chose, they chose not 13th, they chose the 14th to kill those two girls. And I got a feeling, like many people said, their bodies was stripped off. And what blood they were found at the scene, what blood was found, was purposely put there. Because I'm going to read off what this going. On February 14th, the feast of Thunar and Valiblot. They did a feast after they did this blot. This is how this blot goes. This is the whole ritual from start to beginning. Hallowing. A circle is formed by the celebrants, standing or seated. The Gothi stands before the Staller altar. And I get a feeling the altar in this case is that tree with the rune. And rings bell 9 times in 5-second intervals, then pausing for a minute of silence. Blot begins with the Gothi performing hammer hallowing, walking sunrise starting in the north to the east, south, and finally west. And Elhaz position, standing facing north, the Gothi speaks. Hammer to the north, hold and hollow his holy steed. The Gothi faces east and speaks. Hammer to the east, hold and hallow his holy steed. Gothi faces south and speaks. Hammer to the south, hold and hallow this holy steed. Gothi faces west and speaks. Hammer to the west, hold and hallow this holy steed. The Gothi return to the north position and speaks. In the name of Odin, we call to the ancient gods and goddesses all. May this hammer, symbol of Mjolnir and symbol of Thor, reaffirm the adamant strength and power of our gods and of our people. I consecrate this place of community and frith, banishing from it all impure. Give me a second. I'm gotta catch back up. I consecrate this place of community and birth, banishing from it all impure influences. May our minds, this consecrated place, likely be sanctified, as is our will to be the just services of Odin, ancient god of our people. As Heimdall guards the Frost, may this place be warden against all forces, unharmonious to our purpose here this day. Which of the unharmonious, which of the land, wherever we may be, give us our blessing as we celebrate this feast of Thunar and Valley. Blessings of the Thor. Gothi dips evergreen sprig into the horn of mead and sprinkles each individual in the circle on the chest and the X of Gibo ruin. And sunwise progression saying, I give you the blessings of Thor. Gothi raises Gendar or arrows overhead and speaks, Hell Valley, bring up the new light. Your shift pierces winners. Give me 2 seconds. I'm trying to find the rest of this. I'm going to go to the actual site and get the rest of this real quick. So bear with me. And I'm going to read the rest of this, but you see, they waited to the 14th to do this. And why did they wait to the 14th to do this? I thought I got all this, like, copied down. But apparently I didn't. So I thought I had all these screenshots. So give me a sec. I'm going to get back to where I was. He was talking about okay. I'm going to go back to exactly where I was. Gothi races Gendar and or arrows overhead and speaks, Hell Valley, bringer of the new light. Your shaft, I want you guys to pay close attention, pierces winter's heart and promise of new spring, hell to you and may your light enter our hearts as well. Be with us, Valley, son of Odin and Rhine. May you forever dwell always in the homesteads of our people. We hail you as defender of our family. Gothi makes sign of the hammer with the Gandor and continues. Defend our health and kin. Strengthen our heart, mind, body, and soul. May your shafts of radiant light renew our hope. Forever shall we cherish and respect the joy of our family, hearth, and home, as they pay honor to all our gods and heroes. Gothi puts the Gundr down. Gothi assumes the Elhaz position and speaks. Valley, avenger of Balder, slayer of Hodor. By your deed, balance was restored. Restore again a new golden age. Hail to you, Valley. Hail to the new awakening. All respond. Hail to the new awakening. First reading, Thor. In January, as the sun waxes its strength, we celebrate the feast of Thornor or Thor. We pay tribute to our mighty god of strength, water of Midgard, for driving back the darkness of winter. The worship of Thor seems to be one of the very remote antiquity, and it just kind of goes down, but literally, it's okay, now it goes back to the Gothi speaks again. They were just kind of going back to some things. I'm going to show all these on my community wall. The Gothi speaks again. This is back to the ceremony. The sun will not tarry. Now changeth the light, nor colors that marry the day to the night. Cold winter is waning at each year before relinquishing strength to the high god Thor. For today hath not brother in yesterday's tide, and tomorrow no other alike it doth hide. The day is token of oath and beheast that near shall be broken through ill days and blessed. We pay honor to Valley and Thor, as the ancients before us in the days of yore, and the gift of its giving our 4th day shall win. Are the dell of our living and good days therein. O sun, know thou waxeth. From winter you're free. Amidst all thou gainest, how gainful are we. A witness of darkness, hide over earth, rise up on the morrow to look our mirth. At our mirth. Thy blooms art thou bringing back ever for men. And the birds are singing as spring comes again. But to men cold-hearted, that winter is worse. Than thy summers departed, that bore them the curse. And dark are the days of winter each year, and good is growing save thraldom and fear. Not will the world ever wither and die, while yet the sun hovers aloft in the sky. As Thor drives back the cold winter chill, the seasons keep turning. Keep turning they will. Attendant beats out cadence on drum. Gothi instructs celebrants. We close our eyes. Gothi speaks. In ages long ago, we walked with the high ones. We worshiped by oak and ash. On hill and glade, we knew the secrets. that stirred the blood and reached the skies. Close were we to the magic of nature and the elements. Now we are met again. Now we have returned, as the year has been renewed. So may we also be revitalized. Give us strength to meet every challenge. Fill our spirit with compassion, for which is right and just. Ever ready to avenge the blood and soul of our folk, as Valley avenged Boulder, to restore again the light and honor, and the high-born dignity which is our birthright. May the holy Norns grant us their blessing. Gothi raises his sword and speaks. High ones, hear us. Let us be aware of the God force within and without. Hell Odin. I'll respond. Hell Odin. Anointing. Attendant rings bell in 5-second intervals as Gothi anoints celebrants. Gothi anoints each celebrant with scented oil, pressing his thumb to the forehead of each individual, walking sunrise around the circle and pronouncing each anointing. May the blessings of Frigga be with you. Gothi lights candles on the altar and speaks. Birth, death, and rebirth are continuing phenomena, between which there is no division. We recognize a deep spiritual unity between all men, living, dead, and yet to be born. The chant of generations is a time of transcendence and unity, unbound to the narrow conceptions of past, present, and future. Just as we are formed of material derived from our parents, we know the spirits of our ancestors, being immortal, continue to live in us. That there is no death, the whole of nature shows. And if ever there, where it led toward life. All goes onward and outward. Gothi raises a horn and speaks. Hel Frigga, goddess of our path. I'll respond. Hel Frigga, goddess of our path. Gothi speaks. In the name of the high gods, Erd, Norn, of the past, we offer thanks for the ties of our house and family. Verandi, Norn of the present, and Skuld, Norn of the future. May we not be failing in deeds and integrity. Grant that we hold the ways of our forebears and to their memory until the end of days. Gothi pours libation on the ground or in a bowl if held indoors, to be poured on the ground following the blot, and place the mead horn back on the altar. And the bowl is what would be holding the blood of the individual or animal sacrificed, mind you. Now to our children's children and their children, we send forth our words as messengers, kinsfolk. Since we cannot reach you in our physical being, we send our spirits through time and space in Odin's name to greet and guide you. As we, too, receive counsel from the spirits past, may your future bring you knowledge, wisdom, health, and prosperity. And may the gods bless you with a new golden age. In the name of our divine gods, may this be so. Hel Odin. I'll respond, making the sign of the hammer, saying, Hel Odin. Closing, spirits of Asgard, thank you for your presence here in this circle. We ask for your blessing while you depart to your noble realm. We bid you hail and farewell. I hereby release any spirits that may have been imprisoned by this ceremony. Depart now in peace to your abodes and habitation. The blot is now ended. Symbol begins. Pretty much during all this, the bowl. It's just kind of odd that that whole ceremony, everybody's been talking about the ceremony. Nobody's taken the time to look up what ceremony and what kind of ceremony would be done at that time. If they were killed February 13th, that wouldn't be on this Valid's blot, their Valentine's Day. But one thing I am thinking is if they were killed on the 13th, it said mid-January. It doesn't have to be, it's 12th through, I think it's beginning of February. It's mid-February. So 13th, I could see them kind of misrepresenting it. Don't know exactly what they're doing. They think they're doing it. They're reading things up. Think they're going to do it right. And I think, like I said, the Foster Park crew, they're running around trying to be a fake MC, having Sons of Silence patches on their back, acting like, oh, we're a motorcycle club, we should be feared. After they got kind of called out on that by some local motorcycle clubs there in town, they stopped doing that. And while they did that, and seriously, that's why I'm thinking what happened to the blood. And what blood was at the scene, the more I keep looking into this blot and how they would do a blot, each would drink from the bowl, and then the rest of what is left of blood in this bowl would be poured out on the ground, which would make sense. There wasn't a lot of blood, but they said there was some blood at the scene, which would make sense on with them pouring the rest of the blood out is how blood got at the scene. Not a lot, but some blood would be at the scene if they poured the blood out of this bowl and placed the bowl back on the altar. The altar I'm seeing, and it would only make sense, is where they made that rune, is where their AK altar is. So they would stand at the head of Libby's head, where that rune is I believe where their AK altar is. During this ceremony, the rest of them did a circle around the girls, had candles, and everybody keeps saying something might have been buried in that area. I got a feeling it'd be the bowl, it'd be the candles, and the parts of the ceremony would be buried in that area if they didn't take them with them. But yes. And something else I found weird, if you look up, it's Kagan, like how everybody thought Keegan Klein was Kagan, how Kagan Kalis, it was Megan Riddell, or Megan Allen. It's now Megan Barber. Her own mom said she was there. Kalis was there. Kyle Stacy, Gabriel Ellis, Tyler French, the same Tyler French that wants to come see me in person. And I know he was knowing if he was going to straight out come at me and throw out and come out with every word he wanted to say, every threat he wanted to say, he knew I'd be acting. And he was trying to throw scriptures and, oh, I'm going to church. I've got kids now. And trying to throw scripture at me. You can start a new life. Just like a dealer shooting back at police when they were trying to arrest him. Shot at cops. Married Megan. Had a kid with Megan. So Itina started backtracking after her daughter got pregnant again. Started backtracking everything she was saying that her daughter stabbed one of the girls to know what it felt like. I've got a reason why I think Gabriel Ellis forced everybody to participate instead of just the blot, the sacrifice of one person. I got a feeling Gabe had everybody participate, do a stabbing, so if one would roll, everybody risked going down as a whole. The less likely, if one would talk, they all go down for the same crime. And I'm going to try to, or you guys can look into this. I'm pulling back up. Recreate everything I just read off. I'm going to try to get the here. I'm going to try to come in here real quick. And I'm on my cell phone. I got my iPad up and I'm talking on my iPad, but I'm going to try to come into our live and mute this real quick. That right there, if you actually copy and paste that, it goes back to everything I just read. I guarantee I butchered some of these names. But, and kind of how you say things, I know I kind of butchered it. I guarantee I didn't say it exactly as it should have been said. But that right there shows you step by step what is shown, what is said, what is done during this ritual. They do this at mid-February. There's a reason they chose February, mid-February at that. If they did it on the 13th, they had the Feast of the Blot. The 14th. They had a feast celebrating the sick and twisted things they did. It blows my mind with everybody fighting right now. Nobody wanted to look at the right direction or near anything. Look how many times I've had individuals, I'm not going to call you out by name, bring me on the live just to laugh at me. I told you not to bring that up when it comes to this drug ring, and you're going to kick me. But yet, this whole time, each and every single one of these creators that have pushed the false narratives, and anytime I go to the real narrative, the drugs, the dealing, the dealers, I'm going to back this up really, really, really easily. We're going to go to Derek, his uncle, Del Wood, Joshua Lank. You've got Harley Babcock, Devlin Plunkett. These are the ones close to him, Dustin Prater, his co-defendant. Now, if you look at all these individuals, all these names, another thing I want you to keep in mind is if you take the time and actually look up where they are friends with. You got Dustin friends with Tyler Joe French, among others. You got Del Wood friends with Kyle Stacy and others. And it's not hard to start seeing this criminal network if you take the time and actually start looking case by case, look up these names, and then look back and find their social medias. It's where each and every single one of these keep going back into it. But mind you, what I'm telling you, Anna Williams told me No one believes you. And the next message she sent, and we're going to make sure it stays that way where nobody believes you. Why would you not want anybody believing me when I'm speaking the truth? When you've got Anna, Derek and his family, Terry, Brad, showing around multiple killers, murderers, Jennifer Barnes Dean. Goes back with Derek, Terry, and Brad German, all friends with that murderer. The last one from that drug ring that was to leave the Flora house right before the fires. Nothing to see here when they only got paid $20 in their role in a murder in Flora in 2020. Willie Smith. If they only got paid $20 for the role in that murder, how much did it cost for them to lay down an accelerant on their way out the door? All you have to do is when you get outside, turn around in a clear hood, start the fire, walk away. What door did she go out of? Was it the back door? The same door where an individual said there was a line of flame going out to the back porch. The same back porch, if you read Colton Creasy's interview, Colton Creasy said she had a lot of clothes, boxes, stuff stored on that back porch. All flammable, highly flammable at that. And if it's a mass of clothing, boxes, it's going to go up like a tinderbox. So if Jennifer went out the back door, the same Jennifer Anthony Greeno had at the bridge, if she went out that back door, the same back door where the fire started, and the same kitchen she walked out of, went out the back door, then I'm really wondering if she got paid $20 for Willie Smith, an adult's murder, how much she get paid or how much drugs she get for starting the Flora fire. Christy Lynn Martin, a Flora dealer, lived in Flora at the time. Again, Anthony Greeno, among others, friends with a well-known dealer. When an individual, they suspect it was Derek, tried rolling on Gabe to get less time, Christy Lynn Martin took the charges in place of Gabe. Who is Christy Lynn Martin? It's Tina Riddell's sister. Megan's aunt is also involved. You got Megan, her aunt. Now her husband, Joshua Eberling. Look up his dealing. When he was on the run, he shot at police. He was Gabe Ellis's, one of his right-hand men, along with Blaine Nelson. Blaine Nelson told me this, and I've got it in red, where it was him, Josh Eberling, and Gabe that was running the drugs out of the trap house, that they made a trap house into where? Gabe Ellis's daughter's apartment. I've been having Josh Eberling. Here's the message I just got today where he's trying to tamper with me. I have a question. How many people are they saying was there at the bridge and was involved? And what are the names of all of them? You don't have to give me full names, just initials if you want. What's the motive? What's the evidence? He's been trying to tamper with me for what? His new wife. Another one of the stalkers. His wife, her own mom, said she stabbed one of the girls to know what it felt like. It's been a while, but every time I turn around, he's been trying to stalk my page, figure this me out, tamper with me, trying to get me to slip up and tell him information. And there's some friends of his, like Kimberly Powell, Paul Melton Sr., and then Rachel and Sarah May are all some individuals that all go back in around this drug ring that show back to him. But they think they can get married, have a kid, start a new life, and her, being with Keegan Callis, her own mom, and it's Kagan Callis. I think that's where Keegan and his dad got the Kagan. If you actually read where Kagan, Paige Shirley, what the fuck you doing on my page? None other than Paige Shirley showed her face up here. Thank you for the $1 donation. You just wanted to get your name out there and shown and seen. You're the last one that picked her up, but before that, there was an individual Marlena called. Shannon Jackson Young was called by Marlena Smith to come get Karina at Marlena's house. Drop her off where she dropped her off at. Before she went on the run, before you, Paige Shirley, picked her up. That burns me. You decided to come on and flaunt yourself on here on a name unknown just to come on my page. Wow. You're a real piece of work. You're just as guilty as the rest, and you've been trying to talk, and you keep changing your story, just like Tyler and the rest of these individuals keep changing their story. That's real sick. Then you're trying to say you're innocent. Oh, I'm innocent. Nothing to look at. I guarantee you, if the cops would pull up your white collared Mustang, that no sooner after Karina's case, you got rid of your truck, you got a light colored Mustang with paper plates at the time of Delphi, and your reasoning to get rid of that was you had a severe wreck up north. That's what you told my downstairs neighbor. You had a severe wreck up north. When you looked up the time and date, no. There was no wrecks. You got rid of that vehicle after you gave individuals rides up to Delphi to be involved in what they were up there in and doing. They used you as one of the drivers. I would not be surprised if you find the Delphi girl's DNA and evidence in both of her vehicles. You're going to find Karina on her truck. You're going to find evidence of Karina and then her using her vehicle to get rid of Karina's body. Sold that vehicle and then came back, got a light colored Mustang. I guarantee in that Mustang, if they pull up and find Paige Shirley's Mustang, you're going to find evidence, DNA evidence that links back to the individuals that were involved with Delphi. The evidence is going to be sitting in her truck on Karina, her car on Delphi. Mark my words. And they think like her grandmother's influence with local elected officials, law, that she can get by with it. Just like Gabe Ellis's mom, Bonnie Earlbeck, was friends with the now former mayor, Greg Goodnight, and other elected officials. Like I've been saying, this drug ring, the affiliations and the connections and ties and connections they have with some elected officials and some of the dealers within this drug ring actually have where their own family, like Blaine McClellan, Nicholas McClellan, family is the prosecutor, while Blaine McClellan and others, like his sister lives in Kokomo. showing in and around these individuals in this drug ring. Same thing as Blaine. Blaine still associates with all these dealers, the ones in and around this drug ring. Same thing as Derek and others. Marlena, LaBrittany, they all go back in and around this drug ring and highly affiliated within this drug ring. If they would roll, if they would talk in full, their drugs would be stopped. None. You're done. You're dry. No more drugs for you. They cannot have that. Or no more dealing. No more money for you. Are they getting paid to be silenced? Or what? God, I want that face off my freaking live. I don't even want to see it. That just irks me that you want to come in and do that, knowing I got rid of you for a reason. But I got a feeling her, the same one you see the super sticker, the reason she did the protection order on me was to get my address to share it with Tyler and the rest of this drug ring. But the one you see right here, the same one that went on It's a Crime and Shame, is the same one that was doing what she did, brought me to Kokomo to do a protective order just so she would get served and know my exact address, the same address she gave, now proving she was the one that gave it to Gabriel Ellis's bunch, like Tyler and the rest. Hence, how they know where I live, to a T, to the exact location. The same location where Tyler is now saying that he wants to come and see me in person. And give me a second. I'm trying to look something up here. Trying to figure out something. Got a spray bottle. I'll get a couple cats in heat. I was trying to hybrid. How do I get you to Anna's mod? Give me 2 seconds. I'm trying to figure this out. Is there a way you can kind of walk me through this? Because I already noticed one already kind of popped in I did not want to see. I'll figure it out. Bear with me. Give me a second. Come on. Thank you. I got a hell of a good mod now. I know you're on. Do your thing. But yeah, you are now a managing mod. I've seen you rock it out, and I know you can do darn well. So when I seen you hop on the live, you're now a managing mod. But for the love of God, like I said, while everybody is doing exactly what everybody wants you to do, is fighting amongst yourselves. I've got the original BG, one of the two sketches, one of the two names from the very beginning, saying they know my address. How they got my address, Paige Brianne Turley. Her falsified protective order. The only reason she did that, knowing she had no case, even the judge said she has no case. And if it's based off anything I've said off of social media, if you don't like it, he's got the constitutional right. If you don't like what he's saying or says about you, don't listen. What he's doing constitutionally protected, and if you don't like what he's saying, don't listen to it. Don't drag him into my court on trying to do something fake that you've got nothing against him on, and thank you and have a nice day. The only reason she did what she did, dragging me to court, was to get me served by the local sheriff's department here where I live, to know that is the exact place. And yes, I do live there, and he is actively there living. Was to get my address to share with the rest of these individuals in and around this drug ring. Hey, ding dong. But that's exactly the only reason she dragged me in. But now it's showing that Tyler and others that I said, just like the very beginning, when she did what she did, it's to give information back to this drug ring, the ones in and around this drug ring, my information where I live. And it goes to prove that I was right. What she did was to get my address to share it with individuals that were involved in other cases. And yeah, I'm actually not using headphones or anything. I'm actually using just my iPad. iPad apparently picks me up. I'm about like a half foot from the monitor. I'm going to start using this a little bit more often. Because it's kind of nice not having things plugged into my ears and I can't hear. And if anybody's wanting to go on and ask me some questions, I will throw headbuds in my ears. And anybody wants to come on and ask some questions or anything like that, by all means, I'll share the link. Where is my headphones? That is a good question. I just made sure those are... But like I said, while everybody's fighting, I've got the original BG that I said that was BG. Tyler Joe French, saying he wants to meet me in person. And when he meets me in person, I'm not going to be able to hide behind a screen, thinking I'm scared. And what is very odd, I knew they've been trying to use this mental disability. Why? Because I got depression, PTSD. The PTSD stems from back when I was myself a child. The reason I stand up and I want justice for these kids, I'm a sexual... How would you put it? When you have a older individual within the family, distant cousin, sexually abusing you for years, and it's not just you, it's your other younger cousin, abusing me and my younger cousin for years while he was living with my grandmother in my hometown. When they were living with my grandmother, me and this other cousin, we would raise hell. We did not want to bring up, like, get brought off and get and watch my grandmother while they were living there. Come to find out, the father that I had adopted me when I was 1. Come to find out, the same individual, his mother, did that to him and his brother when they were kids. So his aunt did the same thing that her son did to me and my younger female cousin, that she did to my dad and his brother when they were kids. So when it comes to these children, when you got individuals like Greeno threatening these kids, no, does not fly with me. That's another number one reason why I stand for these kids and what happened to them and wanting their justice. One thing Tyler tried to tell me I was going against every single user, every convict. By all means, I'm trying to reach out to JD Denali, or he's an ex-convict, clothing. He's a YouTuber, well-known YouTuber, and his favorite word when it comes to chomos and ones that do harm to kids: stab, stab, stab. Because he used to beat these same people up while he's in prison. So, no, I'm not going against every single convict, every single user. I'm going after the dealers, the ones that do not care for the ones that are going missing and killed and their children. I want you guys to open your minds up. If you guys looked at anything what I've been showing, this troubled community and the people who are within this troubled community are being ravaged. Most of the missing killed cases that I've got out of these 70 cases across Indiana are within the troubled community. It's the adults and their children alike coming up missing and killed one after another. And Tyler tried saying, I'm going after every convict. I'm breaking each and every person down as a low-life piece of garbage. No. I stood, when I swore an oath, 2006, going into military, I swore an oath to any and every American in my nation, no matter the walk of life. You choose your walk of life. But one thing I do not stand for and protect, like many of you guys, I'm not saying you guys here, but a lot of people are actually standing behind a child predator named Renee Anthony Greeno that admits they want to kill multiple children. Makes me sick. How can anybody stand with and beside somebody that wants to kill children like that? To do harm to children is not right by me. So yes, Tyler, you got that right when I'm attacking some of you users and convicts as lowlives, and you will be nothing. You are nothing. You will be nothing. And I think the only reason Gabe Ellis and his ring decided to go on this rage, deep down, they want to be like remembered. I think that's exactly what it is. I think they were trying to make a name for themselves like the Manson cult and go down in history as look at what we did. Look at all the deaths that were caused by us. And just to make a name for themselves, to go down in history of look what we did. We're going to be known for the rest of our lives of what we did. We may be in prison. We may be getting the death penalty. We may be dead. But look what we did. Look what we caused. We did that. That was us. For years, you guys didn't realize it was. We walked among you. It makes me sick where I'm like, I've got an individual that I showed that was, and I've been saying, this is BG. He fits for a match to a T. Look at the last community post I put. He's like, so what? You know how to use a computer. Put some other guy's face on top of mine. Congratulations. All I did was put your sketch, your wanted sketch, over your own face. Wasn't really all that hard. You lighten one up, say the sketch, and you move them over on top of each other, and they line up perfectly, down to the messed up eye. He's trying to say, oh, I don't have a messed up eye. Well, what's that show? Clear as day. Like, what are they going to do? Seriously. Who can I trust? Because this is where I'm going to go into the FBI informant files with me being an informant. I was not getting in trouble. I did not have to serve and be with him as an informant to get time off. Like a lot of these people that rolled on this ring to get less time as dealers. They chose that route to get time off of their sentence and a lighter sentence. Me, I stood up to my oath. I seen a threat to my people, and I stood up and I spoke up, was like, hey, I'm seeing this, and this is what I'm seeing. And I was able to give it to the FBI in such a way where they were finally able to kind of comprehend what I was getting at and what I was showing. This is where individuals like Paige, Brand, Hurley, you may act like you're innocent. You're sitting in my 1023 FBI informant files. You're in my docket. Gabe Ellis, Tyler Joe French, and many others, you're sitting in my dockets, my FBI informant files. You can tell the world that you're innocent, but word for word, your own actions are sitting in my FBI informant files for what you are. Curtis Beck, Jeff Brackett, a couple other names to look up in Kokomo. Like I said, you look at their if you look back to their social medias, you're going to find where in and around this drug ring, it's over and over and over and over with. And it goes back to some where actually like Derek and his family, Anna and her family, where these families are longtime affiliations with other dealers, other individuals in and around this drug ring. It is like a twisted, I don't know what to call it. But when you got dealers like Ashley Garth, mind you, her dad, Toby Garth, worked at the Agriculture Solutions right there on Prince William Road and 100 South. So 2008, Derek's ammonia charge, stealing ammonia from his work. I get a feeling he was the one that was actually helping him, showing him how to do this, how to properly get it out without hurting yourself. This is what you need. This is the type of container that will hold it and not hurt you. And those containers, you have to know how to get into properly. They know how much is in those containers. It takes a manager in the management position to be able to be like, oh, this is how much ammonia that is sitting in this tank, would be able to write off, okay, hey, that was a mistake. We're missing a little bit. That was a mistake. Here, let me correct this. This is what should be in this tank. So nobody would be any the wiser. I got a feeling Toby Garth had a hand in the ammonia theft, the meth operation, and getting a kickback. He didn't say anything for the very fact that his daughter and her drug buddies and their dealers was making money off of him turning a blind eye. Same reason why he's helping trying to get his daughter out, because if the truth comes out, Toby should be sitting right behind bars just like his daughter. And what is weird is if you look up Gabriel Ellis's my case, Prince William Road and 100 South. This is about 2.5 months later. I got two cats. I got a spray bottle. I can hit them from afar. I got cats fighting with each other, and they don't like water. But what I was getting at, I think Toby Garth needs to be locked up just like his daughter for his role for years in around this drug ring, for his silence and own involvement. So yes, I feel Toby needs to be right behind bars, just like his daughter and so many others. But where I was getting at is 2.5 months later, around that time, an individual that wasn't named, Derek and Dustin Prater, made sure not to name who they were supposed to give the ammonia to. And when Gabriel Ellis was given the ammonia, he started manufacturing it with Heather Ferris right beside him on Prince 100, not Prince 100, 100 South and Prince William Road. 40 feet from the very tanks Derek stole that a couple months earlier. Right when he started doing the manufacturing process, lo and behold, guess who shows up? Liggett, responding. Liggett's known about the drug issues between Derek and the others between Gabe and his drug ring for years. I was told I had to cut a few things down, and when I do that, I'm going to actually do this in a way where I'm going to actually be putting up a school resource officer and what he has to say when it comes to the corruption in that local area. The sheriff up there, Toby, having 3 different books, as in 3 different books. That's corrections. That's like documented evidence. This, that, and the other. Cooked 3 different times. He's admitting that the sheriff he worked under up there in Carroll County had 3 different books. And he's like, you tell me why they needed 3 different books. One said something different than the other. One cleaner than the next. The one tells the truth. The other one is hiding partial truth. And then the last one was straight up cooked. And he admits to this. Did you realize that this school resource officer, there was some sexual harassment with a female coach and a female employee of Delphi Community Schools that he actually had to serve Liggett himself with a no trespass order from asking for nudes and sexual harassment of a employee there at Delphi Community Schools. And Hybrid, when you go back and actually say that, it's Vallesblatt is what it's called, or Vallesblatt is what it's called during the it's the solstice. It's going from winter solstice into spring. And it's Vallesblatt and that feast on Valentine's Day. They did, if they killed the girls on the 13th, they did that feast in celebration on the 14th. They gave their sacrifice for wealth, knowledge, whatever it may be, from their gods. They gave that sacrifice, and then they celebrated the 14th. And when you get time, if you go back and listen to the very beginning of all this, and the link I shared, where was it? Real quick. That right there. The feasts of Thunar or Thor and Vallesblatt. If you guys read that right there and actually go look for yourself, you're going to see exactly this whole, how would you put it? This whole ritual that goes word for word on the blot. How that ritual was done, candles in a circle, who was saying what, who was doing what. But it's leaving out a lot. And I guarantee you is what happens during a ritualistic sacrifice, being an animal or a human. They were leaving out, and I think it was just to bring people to the Astro community. We're not going to get them the dark side, the dark secrets, everything that happened back then, but we're going to give them just enough where, oh, this something looks like something I'm interested in, till the deep dark history. But stabbing Winter in the heart, the more you look into stabbing Winter in the heart, this is what I'm wondering, because you got a school resource officer. I got to, in order from getting a ping location and a thread again, I've got to take his pictures off. But I'm going to be posting that on when it comes to on my community page. I'm going to make sure his picture's not shown, even though you know who the school resource officer was during that time. I got threats taking that down, change it, or everything I was given help with, like donations or anything like that. I am to give that back. I was given a pin location. This is where you are, and I'll give it to the sources that need it. Yeah, wasn't too very kind of that. But just because not a name, but a picture was showing, I had somebody go off on me. All kinds of threats. Pissed off because why a simple picture was showing of a guy on a horse. Oh my God. All people have to do is put two and two together. Who was the school resource officer during the time of Delphi in that time area? Or any of the school resource officers? It's not very hard to figure out this guy's name. But I'm going to redo those, repost those up on my community wall. And if you guys want to know what I'm speaking up right here, I've got some of these messages in this email up on my community wall. It's Colin. One thing I want to kind of give a shout out to when it comes to Colin and his brother-in-law. That's who was there. His brother-in-law and him. They run the Paranormal Files YouTube channel. They do a lot of paranormal. Then they run the Murder in America podcast. But Colin, he was there. He was doing with paranormal Files, his paranormal group that he does. Did what I've been wanting to do, and if I can get the ability, I'm just now getting a vehicle that was owned by my uncle. We just got the yeah, I had a brain fart. Give me a second. We just got the title where we can change it to my name, and it's going to come to me. I got to get that up and going. I got to do a written test because I've been over a year without a seizure, and a driving test, and I get my license back. Other than that, I cannot do it. I can't drive myself without my license. So I've been wanting to get up Kempton, where Brandy was found. Get the drone up, because something that irks me when it comes to Brandy, the little bit of bones they found burned in that dumpster was not all her bones. I've talked to a family member of hers. Even they are saying, where is the rest of her? This individual did construction. So when it comes to plaster, when it comes to paint, he has access and easily knows where to get to chemicals. Hydrochloric acid would smell just like when it comes to battery acid. You can get, as a general contractor, in bulk hydrochloric acid, among others. Easy access to it. So with that individual that helped him in Brandy's case, when it comes to going in that smelled like battery acid, I feel he did exactly word for word what Brandy said he was going to do. If you find my dismembered body around Kokomo, John Christie did it. And any new news on her? No, not other than what they said. Other than the PCA, you have Jamie trying to say exactly word for word what they're trying to say. Ashley is a victim herself, should not be behind bars, should not be charged. And I did a PCA read through on that, and I'm like, look at the January 20th picture of that. Does that look like somebody that was scared for their life? They were choking, beaten, threatened that they were going to be next? Or does that look like somebody that was high, partying it up? And look at the Bonnie and Clyde murders down in Georgia. The girl and her boyfriend killing her grandparents and partying, having people over and going on, ordering, eating, like having relations in the house where there was two dead bodies in the same house. They had people over partying. And it blows my mind that you can take a picture and what could be very possibly in the next room, there's there's a crime scene of a murder that just took place in that house, and you're living up on the murderer, which you are yourself one as well, Jamie, and you're living up, getting high, and you're living up on a murderer in the same house that a murder took place in. Can get high, act like life's normal, nothing to see here, no issues. But yet, that picture doesn't show somebody that's scared for their life, that's afraid to talk, and I'm going to be next if I talk. That sure did not look like it. I've been better. And Delphi, after you actually see this, if you actually go back and re-listen to this, I've got one of the names I've said was original BG. His face matches per T to the sketch. This is kind of what you're reading right here. The day when he confronts me, and I guarantee he's going to bring the others, just like McClellan said, that there's the others. I'm not going to be able to hide behind a screen. So, like I've been telling you guys, I got a feeling when it comes to this drug ring, when it comes to May 13th coming up, they're going to be after anybody and everybody to hide anything that can confront them and put them on the stand right beside Richard. This is not the first time this drug ring has actually killed and acted and put a individual in to take the fall for the rest. And what's concerning is every single one that was involved knew something, had a role, like Shannon Jackson Young was the one Marlena picked up, called, had Karina picked up, and then was called by the same individuals that had actually killed her daughter to come get her cell phone and glasses, where she could say she left her glasses and her cell phone at home. She never took them. But hands down, this is not the first time, and I want you guys to open up. And I feel if we don't start acting, it's not going to be the last missing killed case, just like Brandy. John, Chad Hamlin, Jonathan Christie, Chad Hamlin, Jamie Lamberson, all three of them go back in around this drug ring, dealing, using, being around it, being friends with them. Chad Hamlin, the landlord, has some corrupt friends of his that are high up in Kokomo, elected officials and such. It's just, that's nothing I need you guys to play catch up. And like I said, look up Blaine McClellan. When you look at Blaine McClellan, who's his family? Nicholas McClellan. Then you got William Duff. Who's his mom? Nita Duff, the assessor of Carroll County. When Patty's and the rest, which is another Dilling family, I hate saying it, before the Delphi, I need you guys to look. I'm not trying to bash the family, but you got another Diller family connected with other Diller families and individuals in around this drug ring. This is before Delphi even comes into play. So I'm not bashing families of a murder. I'm telling you before the girls were ever killed. Look at it this way. You got families. And you got Anna even admitting, I've been longtime family friends with the Gars. And she put words in my mouth. So you're telling me I'm just as bad as they are for just being friends and affiliated with them? I never said that. But one thing Anna did tell me was, I'm not going to be believed. Nobody believes you, and we're going to make sure it stays that way. Nobody will believe you. Why? When I'm speaking the truth. You guys know about the drug ring, the affiliations with this drug ring. Hell, Anna, Derek, and his family are friends with 3 murderers. Derek, like I said, Derek, Delwood, Terry, Brad. Look at Jennifer Barnes, Jennifer Dean, whatever you want to call her. Took $20 for her role in a murder. Nothing to see here. And then Anna telling me to shut the fuck up. I'm not going to shut up. And when her having Liggett calling me, saying he's going to use his power of his badge as a deputy, and next time I contact or even ask a question or anything like that, Krampus and Odinson. That I don't know, hybrid. Oh, not just shut up. I need to shut the fuck up. And then she's telling me I was illiterate. I don't know how to talk. I don't know how to type. I don't know. Yeah, she was going off. And then she, at first, and then she was like, I just know I don't need anything or how I really talk to people getting out in the real world. It's not as picture perfect and pretty as it is for the cameras and these talk shows, as you see. Yeah, tell me to shut the fuck up. Nobody believes you, and it's going to stay that way. We're going to make sure nobody believes you. Why would you want that? If I'm speaking the truth, and like I said, you've got victims, family members, and this goes back to Karina, Brandy, Javon, Daniel Haidt, the dad of the Logansport fire victims. When they went to go contact Daniel, he was found dead. The 2 people that walked out of Logansport fires, the mom and the son, I've been longtime family friends with Gabe Ellis, and a bunch of the names I've been saying, they've been friends with them for years. They walked out alive. I'm trying to break down about 30 cases within Carroll and Howard County. There's going to be a couple in Marion, a couple out of Lafayette, but I'm trying to keep in this generalized location. What I'm going to be showing is this tentacles where it goes back in and around the same drug ring, the same families, dealers' families. They know the family members are dealing, and I even got Anna admitting that yes, she knew that Anna knew Derek was dealing, but she's saying, oh, he's not dealing now. But why is Derek still showing up, hanging around like Harley Babcock, Devlin Plunkett, Trevor Tooley, all these individuals that are still active in this drug ring and in and around it? He himself may not be using or dealing right now. Makes you wonder why associate and still go hang out and be a known issue at a trap house, a drug house. Why show up? Why be around that? And the silence. And I'm not trying to talk bad to the families. What I'm trying to show is look on Galen Rose's own lawsuit. This is what I'm trying to show everybody. I'm not trying to talk bad about the families or anything like that. And I want you guys to hear me clearly on this. Galen Rose's lawsuit. When she won that lawsuit, she won it with a murderer sitting behind bars as one of the witnesses, Jennifer. Every other name of those In that lawsuit, if you look up each and every single name, including Colton, they all go back in around that drug ring. When she was asked about the traffic that was coming in and out of that house, it was drug traffic with this drug ring. And what I've noticed is individuals that are struggling behind, can't make ends meet, is where this drug ring and these individuals, they target ones like Galen, having a hard time making ends meet. Well, hey, if you let us use your house, we'll give you a little kickback on what's being made. And you didn't see nothing, you didn't hear anything, but here's your money for us being allowed to use your house as a trap house. So when she was asked about the traffic, that is exactly what they were asking for. Can you tell us more about what the traffic was coming in and out of this house? She said no. But when it comes to YouTubers and money being made, I still feel every single one of those individuals in that drug ring, in order to back her on that lawsuit, got a kickback from that said lawsuit. But it's clear as day, you can back up what I'm saying on that lawsuit, and each and every single one of these names back into their history, dealing, using. It's there. Then you follow some of these names back into the other cases, that drug ring. It doesn't bother you when y'all see her smiling ear to ear during the search while the news reporter was talking to her. Who are you talking about? And Delphi, yeah. And it's the same thing. Like when you look at the news conference, when it comes to Marlena, she is stone faced, just as stone faced she was when she was talking to me. There's no emotion, there's no upset. Like there's no emotion in her eyes and her voice. No crackling. When I met and talked to Marlena, she told me word for word, down to it was a firefighter. Gabe Ellis was sexually trafficking Karina McClurkin, and it was a firefighter that paid to go again, end up strangling Karina to death. Made sure to, in the Flint Farmer, made sure to put the strangling that, oh, he strangled her. When Marlena's own words said it was a firefighter that paid to beat and rape Karina again. But what's really troubling is where she told me word for word she was giving a tour of a crime scene in a bathroom. And if you look up the live I did with Blaine Nelson, he was given the same tour. He's backtracked on more than once what I was asking him, what I was telling, and he's backtracked more than once, but I've got it on written record where he admitted that it was him, Josh, and Gabe that was using Gabriel Ellis's daughter's apartment as a trap house. Taught her everything she knows. Oh, it's when she was contacted by the ones at the crime scene to come fulfill the rest of her role. Mind you, she was the one that called Shannon Jackson Young, another one that sits on the witness list, that was involved, that came to pick her up, dropped her off supposedly at Flint's, but yet at the same time, oh, not to rub it in her face, she was involved. She had involvement. She had a role, and her role is to come get the glasses and her glasses and cell phone, and then to play off that she left her glasses and cell phone back at her house. The same cell phone I seen her texting and calling for over 3 hours, begging anybody and everybody to come get her to her phone was nearly dead. The same cell phone that I sent a text to the next day. Hey, this is Michael Phillips. I was the one that helped you last night. Did you make it home safe? And word for word, exactly what Paige Turley told me. Yes, I did. Thank you for everything. The whole thank you for everything was word for word what Paige Shirley told me that night before. It was a text back to me. Will show the ping location. Then I decided to go with a promise that Karina made me that night before. If I was to call you after I got a text, I'm going to call you to make sure it is you that I'm talking to. And somebody, after a couple calls, ended up picking up. Didn't realize they picked it up. You can hear some ruffling and talking in the background. And then they hurried up and hung up. So the pinging of the location of that cell phone on the text and the calls, it happened. I want you to listen when it comes to Jerry. One thing she was saying, she is not your typical mother. She is a mother that would stuff her own daughter and use her own daughter as a drug mule to traffic while she was dealing and send her off to another individual's place, stuff fuel drugs. Heard that from Jerry McClurkin. She let you all know that. So no, this is not your typical mother. This is a dealer and a highly involved in this drug ring individual, Marlena Smith. LaBrittany, just the same. So yes, a normal mother couldn't do that. But a mother that would stuff their own daughter, private parts, full of drugs and use them as a human mule, human drug mule to get their drugs passed isn't a mother in my eyes. When you can sexually abuse your daughter like that, stuffing her full of drugs, and you wonder why Karina McClurkin, at a young age, even as a child, got into the drugs like she did. All it takes is one of those little baggies or rubber balloons, or however they would do it, to pop, or just have a leak to get somebody stuck into addiction. So yes, when it comes to that, a mother that would sexually abuse their daughter, stuff them full of drugs, and use them as a human mule isn't a mother. That's a monster in my book. But when you get contacted and tell me right to my face, stone cold, just stone cold she was at that press conference. Give me a second. I gotta get a drink. Oh, gotta make a drink first. I got ice in here. I just didn't make a drink for the thing. Been talking so long, I haven't had a drink. I'm kind of gutting. Okay, there we go. Oh. But yes, when it comes to families being involved, this is like the latest victim. Tyler was accusing me of victim bashing, like victim family bashing, and bashing the ones in around this drug ring. I'm not trying to do that. What I'm actually trying to do is, from various life circles, I've never heard of it 2 years ago. And this is the same thing. And when I want to get into the Odinism thing, Greg Massa, by all means, I want everybody to reach out to the former special agent in charge of Delphi. You and Michael Curtis, aka Mike Fries, knew intel and failed to act on Delphi. If you acted on Karina McClurkin's missing and murdered case, where I was a informant turned federal eyewitness, if you would have acted on the individuals on her case, those two little girls, Flora, Logansport, John Blackwell's kids, other kids, lives did not need to be taken. It was preventable 110%. And everybody that's been telling me, why are you bringing up, like, oh, that's a big subject and a big area for Sons of Odin to be looking into. I was told by Michael Curtis, I need information and I'm going to give you a set parameter where to look for it. Logansport, Peru, Roosevelt, Delphi, Cutler, Lafayette, Kokomo. That generalized location, I want you to set up like a web, and only in these little generalized locations. This is about 3 months before Delphi. And he had me looking up the Sons of Odin. Brad Holder sits in my informant files, not only with the Sons of Odin, but a militia group that was training at Ron Logan's property. There was a militia group that was training right there on Ron Logan's property. They left 24 hours before Delphi happened. Everybody's wondering, why did the FBI go after Ron Logan so fast and his property, his location? Why would they do that? Why would the FBI think he had involvement in it? Well, let's put it this way. Michael Curtis and the younger agent that took over the retired agent, and Michael Curtis's hints along the way when it came for over a year telling me I was going to be put on the record and get it to the criminal investigation unit with the FBI, get it acted on. I'll come up, get you on record. I'll come up, get you on record. It makes me wonder, is his hints that he was retiring in the next year, if this is too much of a big case for him to take on, that would not allow his retirement to go on as planned? Makes me wonder. But I'm telling you now, the Nadler case, Naddler, the one that sexually abused the ones he was coaching, look that case up. It's not a small case. It is a national known, well-known case. And if you look at the very, 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 very beginning of that, Indianapolis FBI, new intel, failed to act, even when you had victims going to them saying, look, this is what's happening to me. This is what's going on. But just like I'm seeing in these cases, he had connections, political, law, other connections in the area, even with victims saying, hey, this is what's going on. This is what's happening to me. They knew intel failed to act. Here recently, same time as the girls, the Florida school shooting, the Florida nightclub shooting, FBI was forced to what? We knew intel. We failed to act. After a public demand and outcry, after they were hearing FBI was getting information, they knew intel, they forced the FBI to come out. We knew intel. We failed to act. This goes from the FBI knowing intel, failing to act. This is where it really gets good. The New Mexico jihad compound. Again, you've got a informant this time, spoke up like myself. Look, I was inside this jihad compound. There was a 3-year-old that lost their life. And no matter what they were giving intel-wise to get the FBI to act, even after the 3-year-old lost their life, you want to know what the FBI did. Instead of taking this case on, they gave it to the locals. It wasn't until the locals figured out a 3-year-old lost their life that they did something. They got involved. They actually went and did something. And then the FBI came back in. The only time the FBI was forced to admit we knew intel, we failed to act, was when this informant got national backing, a voice behind them, showing the evidence that they had, and finally was heard that a third time, the same time frame as the girl's case, and all this is going on with the other cases, same time frame. It took an informant finally being heard national and news-wise to finally be, oh, we knew intel, we failed to act. Oops, it won't happen again. We're sorry. It happened again, same time frame in Indiana, the same Joint Terrorism Task Force as the other 3 cases where, oops, we knew intel, we failed to act, our bad. It's the same Joint Terrorism Task Force, just in a different state, Indiana. Knew intel and failed to act. Militias aren't really odinous. They've got some in it. And drug a lot more snitches. It happens. I'm trying to not go on things or just assume things. But what I'm going on is when it comes to Brad Holder, he was already being looked at on and in my 1023 informant files with the FBI, his militia group. I actually have where I haven't showed anybody, where I've got 2 other active duty military. It was one of them. And there was another individual from his militia group making death threats to me to shut up or else. Remember, we are the 3%. Then I've got another active duty military individual where he was telling me the only thing between me and you on silencing you of speaking about my group is between what? A state line and time and opportunity. I want you to go back on my community post again when it comes to Richie Klein. Wonder who Richie Klein is? He's a patched member of the Milwaukee Iron MC Club. We're talking about him allowing a pedophiles like his cousin, Tony, and his son, Kagan, around the motorcycle club, rides, and affiliations where there's kids involved. It's the same motorcycle clubs where I'm actually hearing right now as we speak, one of these members has an underage girlfriend as well as a wife. So yeah, it's really sick. And Holder and others to be an informants, I can't really go on to that, but I want you to see where one of the motorcycle clubs that did the ride for the missing for 4 years now needs to be stopped. There's individuals, actually former members of theirs, that Destiny Pittman, when her case, before it was actually anything got done, they knew who did it on her case, but they wanted to handle it in-house. It wasn't until I started showing that, look, they knew who did it. They've been allowing this individual to walk. It wasn't until I was exposing that till anything was done on Destiny Pittman's case. They were using hers as a stepping stone, which she used to be the former president's daughter of Milwaukee Iron. There's a former member of Milwaukee Iron that actually let that be known, and I've got that in writ. You think they don't know, or the locals don't know what's going on, who did it, and what's going on? You're crazy. Then he explains in detail. They know what's going on. They know who did it, and then gave me a name of who did it and why they did it. And they know this. But they were doing rides for the memorial, memorial rides, ride for the missing, then going up to like a kid's lemonade stand, an 8-year-old's lemonade stand, bringing pedophiles, individuals in around that type of life. And when I come, and I'm talking about the Kokomo drug ring, the same one, Fouts, belong to? Upper. When you have judges, you got elected officials like Fouts. He belonged to the Kokomo cartel ring. It involves sex, like Danny DeMolin, the local pimp of the town. He now owns nightclubs instead of strip clubs, but he was using his strippers as a pay to play, like as in prostitutes. Had 16 prostitution charges. It was his money, his corruption, his affiliates in town that got him out of 16 prostitution charges on running his house, strip club as pretty much a brothel and strip club. Upstairs is where the pay to play was going on. And when he was busted, he brought it into not Milwaukee, but Mobile Ground Shakers. How I figured that out was I started getting in with individuals like Brewster Pitts. I met him on my way walking home one night, or when I was riding my bike on my way home. I had a cigarette, need a lighter. I stopped and asked him. I was like, hey, you got a light? At the time I smoked weed, so I ended up started like every once in a while, like rolling a blunt or seeing him out in his garage, like swing by, hey, you got a light? I got a blunt. And I already knew who he was. And I asked this agent, hey, do you know this motorcycle club and some of the issues that's been going on back in the town? FBI knew about the corruption. And one of the new posts, I'm going to actually, while I'm talking to you guys, I'm going to actually be putting this up right after. But this is a blue backing blue. Blue protecting blue. You got that school resource officer that knew the corruption. And when it even come, somebody asked the corruption in Kokomo, how high does it go? He's like, every elected. All the elected officials, ... This is blue protecting blue. He says he's a good man. But email me, and I guarantee if you go looking on his friends list, he's friends with Robert T. Ives, among others in Carroll County. Who can you trust? And like I said, Tony Slocum, how can I trust him, let alone Carter and Carter? Sure, Superintendent Doug Carter, how can I trust one of your own individuals involved with Delphi when you ask FBI, Joint Terrorism Task Force, does one of my troopers have friends that go in to domestic terrorism suspects? Ask them, Frank Castiello. Is Frank Castiello a longtime suspect domestic terrorism? Yes or no? They're going to tell you yes, along with about two dozen other names that are sitting on Tony Slocum's friends list. He's friends and associating with. One thing that's really, really blows my mind is if you look up Tony Slocum, go to the southern border. You've got federal policia, local policia on the Mexico side of the things. And then at a certain location, right at that border, at that same location, right across the border, you've got state, local, you've got the Border Patrol. What is a Indiana state trooper doing with ties right there at a certain location at the border? What do they need? Individuals, both Mexican, the Mexico side, as well as right across the same border area, the American side, right there at the border. What does a state trooper need individuals like that being friends and associated and talking with What does an Indiana trooper all the way up in Indiana need associations with that down at the border? Makes me wonder. But how am I supposed to trust an individual with my own life, let alone the lives of 2 children and others, when you're sitting friends with multiple domestic terrorism suspects that sit behind and in my 1023 informant files? I can see this. A lot of people out there can't see it, but how am I supposed to trust an individual like Tony Slocum, Doug Carter? You said, if you know anything, speak up. I've been speaking up to your tip line. I can show you, Doug Carter, where do you really want to know? I want to see one of your own detectives call into that tip line. Do you know what happens in that tip line? They take as little information as they can get from an individual. If it doesn't pique their interest or it bores them, instead of hearing you out, hearing every detail that you need to know to get back to you to look the right direction, they hurry up and get these individuals. Okay, have a nice day. And they hurry up and try to get you off the phone over and over and over again. No matter how many times, no matter what you're talking about, to get them to look into FBI, DOJ. I made plenty of phone calls. And by God, if something happens to me, I've got this recorded. I've tried and tried and tried and tried to save lives. What happened with me getting dismembered as a informant, getting thrown away as an informant, was why? Because I spoke up to the Department of Justice trying to save lives. Where this agent was lies, disregard, negligence, mishandling of information, intel, and mishandling of suspects, and mishandling of an informant turned federal witness, was costing American lives. The same reason I spoke up and became an informant. And he started wondering why I started trusting the new agent that came in. Yeah, he might have been new from the academy and new to your department, but he was listening to me. He was looking. He was doing a hell lot more than Michael Curtis. So yeah, he started getting mad in the messages with me, blowing off. Why are you talking to him more than you've ever talked to me? How's he getting this information that you've never told me? It's called trust, respect. You gain that. You earn that. When you lose it, it's hard to want to talk to somebody, let alone trust somebody with something when I've got death threats on me you knew about, you didn't want to act. I've had individuals bust my left side of my face, my jaw. I still need facial and jaw surgery to get everything fixed. Did you do anything? No, you allowed it to happen. More than one attempt on my life, even a toddler's life. Didn't do anything. And that's the thing. That's what I've been telling everybody. In order to get justice, not only for Delphi, but other cases, there needs to be a public demand and outcry for a RICO investigation. Why a RICO investigation? You've got a cartel drug ring. You've got elected officials like Blaine McClelland's family member, Nicholas McClelland, Dilling. You got Blaine Dilling. And you got other individuals in and around other families saying, hey, we know who's dealing, who's not, who's doing what, and we're afraid of their own family. Yeah, some of Brandy's own family knows what's going on, knows who's dealing, knows who's involved, but they're afraid to say anything for their own lives. Hence, their own family said, hey, you either shut up or you're next. And I want you guys to look like Kokomo. Kokomo in the Know 2.0. If you actually listen to what some of the things they've been saying, Mark McCann, the prosecutor, partnered with a Korean. More money than he would ever see as a commissioner partnered with a Korean on a battery plant there in Kokomo on the property. Got the property for what, 1,000 or two per acre? End up selling it for, I think it was like 150,000 per acre or something like that. Hell of an income back to them, but they're not using their own money when it comes to investing in property and real estate. One of the easiest things this cartel does is they use real estate. They have people like the Patties that come out and assess the properties. If you throw them a few grand saying, hey, I need this property assessed from, say, 30,000 to 300,000, and oh, we did this, this, and this, it goes from, we bought it for 30,000 to 150, 200,000, inflated. This is what the property is worth. You take that to the assessor. This is now what the property is worth. Now, when they go to sell for something they got $30,000, they're making what, $120,000 more on a property that paid a little something for it to be adjusted, inflated to be now worth this much. This ring uses assessors and real estates, sells, buying, and selling to launder their money. In the United States, it's the number one way how the cartel launders its dirty and bloody drug money, their sex money. It is the number one way in the United States, and it is through the help of assessors like the Patties, county assessors at that being part of this, elected officials, law enforcement, all turning a blind eye. And also, when I go to show the school resource officer, do you realize there's 2 active cartel MS-13 houses right there in Delphi active? And this officer's talking about, actually, he had 2 of these cartel members wanting to start stuff with him. He's like, I end up having to pull my service weapon until they got the point backed off. And yeah, this is why I know the internet's forever. I made sure this whole time where I've got where it goes back, and it's going to go back, and I've got in more than one person in every single detail, even out of state. They've got this held. They've got this where it's no matter what. If they come, like Tyler said, if they want to come, take my life like they did Nicole's, thinking it's going to save them, it's not. I'll be more than glad to give my life. I signed a check up to including my life, protect my people and my nation. I swore an oath to protect my people and my nation from any threats, foreign and domestic. So help me God. But I'm going to hop off here. I'm going to get these parts where they're kind of broke down a little bit more. And I'm going to go ahead and put these up on the community wall. But I wish somebody would have came live, but I'm going to talk with, if you guys could talk like Hybrid and a few others, it'd be a whole lot easier. I can get a lot more details and go into darker and deeper details on things. But if I had like another person like T or Bob or somebody to kind of, instead of me kind of going off left field or this way or that way, kind of keep me on subject and kind of keep going in and dark, deeper and deeper, and kind of just, you'll be able to tell if I was bullshitting people, if I was just saying it to say it, and I did not have any evidence, anything to back me up on any of this. Ding dong, you act like you're only. Trust me, there's a friend of mine You're not the first Scottish I've got right there. Let's just say Ding Dong. I never was a football fan like your guys' football, but thanks to your other family there in Scotland, you already know who I'm running for, and I'm rooting for, and I'm backing. So Ding Dong, you can be proud. Oh yeah, you know who I'm rooting for. But hey, I'm gonna hop off here. But hey, ask Bob P. It'd be a whole lot easier. I can get a lot more done. But I'm gonna show the actual screenshots of the whole ordeal. I have not figured out how to pull my screen up and show everything like that. I know it shows right here, but to get it to actually do what I need to do and want it to do, uh, it's gonna be rough. I've been trying to do that. So I was coming on a little bit late than I was supposed to. I was trying to actually get the where my picture would be up here on the side and I can pull up my screen. I could not figure out how to get that to work for the life of me, especially on an iPad. I'm not on a like regular computer or a laptop. I'm on an iPad. So I'm trying to get it to pull up because I was going to read off like how T and Grizzly and the rest of them, they actually read it as they are kind of scrolling down. And I was going to show you word for word that I was kind of word salading and kind of messing up. And I really don't care. When it comes to the Odinism thing, I'm not a part of that. And I know there is some that are good and are here for the good, but when you got individuals that are there for the bad, and you got the AK good ones, just like these good cops, sitting and doing nothing, it's sick. If you know it's fake, if you something didn't like resound in your mind, like, hey, this doesn't sound right. This is not how we do things, then speak up. And not Patrick Westfall or this person or that person. For the love of God, nobody involved with this case or near or talked about. But hands down, just get a hold of T or Bob. Like it'd be a whole lot easier if I get one of these two to listen to me. But just know why everybody's fighting amongst themselves. I got the original BG and the others that McClellan knows about. McClellan, Kobe, Liggett. Something happens to me, Michael Curtis, FBI, Doug Carter. You all are responsible. You could have prevented my own case and others. So you have it from me. If something happens to me, I go missing, I get killed. You could have prevented this with doing the right thing. The witness rights and protection, the victim rights and protections. This goes back where I'm not trying to attack Derek, but if he did roll, Nicole and others, what happened to the informant rights and protections? We're not going to allow anything to happen to you or your family if you take the stand or you give us testimony we need to take these individuals down. What happened to the informant rights and protections, huh? This is another reason why you don't want this drug ring brought up because it's going to show your own mistakes, your own disregard, mishandling of informants and witnesses alike. You're allowing these individuals to be killed and their families to be killed because why? You are so incompetent yourselves and not knowing to how to do your own jobs. Your own incompetence is why, and your own egos is why you're refusing justice to happen. You're hiding what truly happened. If somebody did roll on Gabe in this drug ring, be it Derek, you get allowed what happened to two little kids and others. Why? Your incompetence, your egos. Afterwards, well, guess what? Everybody look up 100% the Indiana Police Accountability Law. Holman, you are fired. We need to demand what Holman did, the Indiana Police Accountability Law. You do not deserve your law license or to be anywhere in law, just like many of these other individuals. Indiana has now got the Indiana Police Accountability Law. The police immunity, is no longer in effect. Holman, you are fired. You should be locked up and your law license taken and never be allowed in around this again. You should never have a badge again or anything law like again. Look up the Police Accountability Law. Another law I want you to look up, Boone County. I want what they did in Boone County. Every single dealer, they should have went higher. They could have went higher. But every dealer, it was their drugs, their money that cost multiple kids' lives. Over 70 people, 19 of which are kids, lives have been taken. And I've got an IMBD officer, Garland Dell Cooper. You're just like Holman. The Indiana Police Accountability Law should go on you as well. You should not hold your law license and your badge. We need to press for the Indiana Police Accountability Law to go in effect so anybody that's lying, not doing their jobs, should be pulled off, charged, and no longer be allowed to have their law degree. That's there for a reason, and it's for the reasons why we are seeing right now. The incompetence, the egos. And I want you to look back on the 2018 video I did. You've got Charles Chuck Myers of the Miami Post and Detective Benzinger. I'm going to try to break this down where it's a whole lot easier to listen to and kind of follow what I'm getting at. But in this 40 exploitation of minors cases are sitting in KPD and Indiana State Police, Miami Post. Carter, is that acceptable to you? When your own detective and a Kokomo police detective are saying that you have only select manpower, only one detective from Indiana State Police and only one detective from Kokomo could work one case at a time. They do not have the manpower. They do not have the funding. And when confronted, why are you choosing? Is it your egos or what? But when confronted, why aren't you getting the feds involved? This is a state and local issue. This is not a federal issue when it comes to child exploitation, child porn. Keegan making plans, talking to Liberty. Delphi was one of those 40 cases sitting cold on KPD and ISP desks. If they would have acted and got feds involved on that, again, another route, it could have been prevented. And one of the main suspects, Gabriel Ellis, we already knew intel on him. This child predator that's got a history right there, Prince 100 Road and 100 South. Yeah, Prince William Road and 100 South. A child sexual predator has a known record and arrest right there in Delphi, right down from the road. But when you look at my case, you got to go to Miami County. Just like there was a child predator and an issue in Kokomo. And so, lo and behold, how'd it go to Miami County? Miami is just as corrupt. Miami County, Peru, they're involved with it just like Carroll and Howard. This cartel is the real issue why a lot of things are not getting done and a lot of people are not being looked at and being put under the rug. Daniel Nations being a national known name, known in every household, but a child predator that was on the run with an underage girlfriend, which Cheyenne's one of her friends, Sierra Daly. Yeah. Cheyenne, the witness, is friends with Gabe Ellis' underage girlfriend that he was on the run with. The same Gabriel Ellis that I asked Crystal Daly when Gabe Ellis and the rest of his drug ring went up and did what they did in Delphi, did Sierra go with him? Was she there? Her response, I don't think she was. Go look at my community page. I don't think she was. I was like, you do realize what you just said. So even if she wasn't there, she knows who went, who came back, and who was involved in silence. What's sick? Because she can't be with Big Daddy. She's with Little Daddy. She's now dating and actually had a kid. Supposedly, I got a feeling it was Gabe's. But she's now with Gable Ellis's son. If you can't be with Big Daddy's behind in prison. Let's go with his son. Keeping it in the family. But yeah, I'm gonna hop off here. I've been going about a little over 2 hours now. But yeah, nasty, isn't it? And Hybrid, the same one Sunny backed up. You seen she was trying to come in just to show her face. Oh, look at me, look at me. Yeah, I'm looking at her, and I'm demanding both of her bills to be pulled up, and I guarantee you, Karina's, you're going to see blood and her being used, her bill being used in Karina's case, and I guarantee you, in the same white-colored Mustang, paper plates at the time of Delphi, Paige Turley's car, you find both those vehicles, you do the forensics, I guarantee you. Just like that Tina, let it be known. There's a walk stairway down to a basement that was locked at Gabe Ellis's daughter's apartment. The same stairwell, Tina Riddell said they came back with bloody and muddy clothes after they did Delphi. I finally got out of her. They had multiple cans, not cans, but bottles of peroxide and boxes of baking soda down there to clean up and get rid of the DNA evidence. Look up if you use the two. And when I asked Tina, whose blood was it that you put, aka a drop of peroxide on to see if it was human, which made no sense. But then I got out of, there was baking soda and peroxide there in many, like multiple quantity, like mass quantity. Use that if you make sure you don't want something to be able to get DNA proved back to something or somebody. When I asked whose blood it was, Tina Riddell, the same one that said Megan stabbed one of the girls with her friends to see how it felt. Tina Riddell, her own words, and I've got this in writ. The Delphi girls. Is whose blood she said it was. It's sick. But like I said, they pull up Paige's truck and car. The one with the paper plates. Everybody made a big deal with paper plates. Car with paper plates. Yeah, they need to look towards Paige Turley. Find her vehicles. Lo and behold, what happens if there's DNA evidence of the girls in her car and Karina's in her truck? What then? Wow. I've been speaking the whole truth the whole time. I was dragged in this hell, and just like Brandy, I am speaking out, trying to get a voice and trying to get a backing to save my own life and give a voice to the voiceless. I'm a victim myself of this same drug ring and ones in around this drug ring, and they want me dead, as you see right here, the original BG. While you guys are fighting, I've got the BG saying they want to come and see me face to face. I won't be able to hide behind a keyboard. If something happens to me, I go missing and killed. I've showed you guys, and I told you guys where to look. Mark my words. But by God, there's going to be bodies in body bags. If they come after me, I'm going to leave a trail, because there's going to be some of the suspects that go back in and around this drug ring, like I've been telling you. I am well armed. I've got a bulletproof vest. I'm going to make it sure I'm a hell of a target. Small target. You got to be a good aim. You come at me, you want war? I'm dropping bodies, and they're going to be able to track these individuals, their IDs, back and get these individuals behind bars. Mark my words. You come at me, I'm not an easy target. I'm not a child that you killed. I won't be as easy as the rest. You want my life? Well, come take it, but I'm taking many of yours on the way down with me. I'm going to show them, hey, this is who came at me. This is who to go to, who to take down. Hey, Godspeed, you guys have a good day. And I'm going to try to do another one of these tomorrow, but I'm going to try to get a few things up where you guys can see.